I'm having problems. No matter how much memory I can possibly bring to the table, it is just not working. No, I feel very frustrated, so I think I needed to do one of these videos for you. So how are you all doing tonight? I hope amazing and fantastic. Now just relax, and if you have not subscribed, please do so at this time. Hit that like button if you enjoy this whispered content. Yes, whispered content. Whispered content. I'm just using my Yeti. I don't even know if you want me to go into the whole reason why I'm using my Yeti. But it is now 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm still frustrated, but I'm so stubborn that I'm going to do a video if it kills me. So tonight, I was debating on just doing all triggers. But then I thought, I really want to hear a creepypasta. So I pulled you. I am gonna be reading a creepypasta because you know what? That's what I love to do. I'm so excited I can do all these good. So I'm going to my trusty phone here. What would you like to hear? I don't know, I think I'm in the little mood for a little crispy creepypasta. I don't know, I get crispy out of that, but whatever. So, I'm gonna read from one of my favorite Reddit authors who approves of me reading. I have spoken with him, and he is a fantastic writer. His name is Horror Junkie 123. Horror Junkie 123. And this one is an apropos creepy bust. And honestly, this is why I stopped doing video readings in the past, because it just got to be to the where I just don't have enough memory on any phone, any iPad, any external. I mean, I've got my camera sitting here. I don't have enough. It just got out of hand tonight. And then, you're planning on what you're gonna do, and that goes out the window because halfway through it, it fails. And like with my daughter, I did a facial on her tonight, and I will post that. But it wasn't as completed as I wanted it to be because I ran out of memory 5 different times, and here I am just deleting everything. I'm deleting every video I have just to get enough to. Anyway, I'm just venting. Brush your teeth. Okay, brush your teeth. Take any medications that you might need right now. Set your alarm for tomorrow if you're working on Sunday or want to just get up and do some every day a little bit, and I'm happy. I want to make people feel good, and those who enjoy whispered scary stories like I do, it is nice to have a go-to channel. Well, let me stop blabbing my mouth and get right with it with the horror junkie 1, 2, 3. His newest one are thus far. My wife is participating in a viral TikTok trend that we all know so well, right? And she's taking it way too far. Oh, that is so creepy, my wife Hannah shouted. I know, right? One of my co-workers sent it to me, Lori said. Her attention stuck to the screen. They locked eyes, malicious smirks inching across their face. Wanna try it? Definitely, Lori replied as the sisters shifted their focus to me. I'm kind of scared to ask, but what are you two trying to do exactly? Whenever those two got together, they were capable of some real mischief, and sometimes it came at my expense. And if you hear snorting in the background, that is my dog, Chance. You'll see, Anna said, handing me her phone. I furrowed my brows as I sank into the couch. I hesitantly glanced down at the screen, unsure if this was part of the ruse. TikTok video was playing on the repeat. A woman was on screen, her long brown, Chansey, hair particularly obscuring her features from view. A boy's smile was wide, plastered across her face, standing. It was kind of, I don't know, off, but the way she was standing. Lie down. Chance, just lie down. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, buddy. 2:05, to be honest. Chance, lie down. Damn it. Okay. I'll erase that. Sank into the couch. I hesitantly glanced down at the screen, unsure if this was part of the ruse. A TikTok video was playing on repeat. A woman was on screen, her long brown particularly obscuring her features from view. A wide smile was plastered across her face. Like the Cheshire cat. And that alone was creepy. But the way she was standing, it was really off-putting. The video cut on several occasions, and each time it did, the woman was in a different spot in the house, hiding behind curtains, crouching under the table, and standing on the stairs. All the while, that same manic grin never left her lips, not even once. The man filming was getting audibly more freaked out with every creepy encounter. I kept waiting for some sort of punchline. I thought that eventually the woman would break the facade and return to her normal self. she never did. The video ended up with a close-up of the woman's bulging eyes as she lunged at the camera, and guttural shriek from the man filming. Once it was over. I hurriedly swiped off the video and breathed a sigh of relief. Wow. Oh, okay, I see what you're... I froze. It was only then that I noticed it. Anna and Lori were absolutely nowhere to be found. They were gone. I mean gone. I don't know how that's possible, but they just were gone. It wasn't even a minute video. They must have walked away at some point, I guess. During the video, my heart dropped into my stomach. I really didn't like this trend. There was something sinister, dark, and evil about it. I really felt sick, but I had a feeling that I was about to witness it firsthand. Anna, Lori, come on, man. You know I hate this shit. I shouted, tentatively entering the kitchen. My eyes immediately fell to a pair of feet sticking out from beneath the curtains. I pursed my lips. Matching up to the window, I ripped the drapes aside to find Lori standing there, smiling at me. Oh, I'm shaking, so scary, I huffed. I crossed my arms, pissed and a little annoyed as well. Lori held her pose for about 5 more seconds before she couldn't contain her giggles any longer. Okay, you got me. I admit that wasn't as funny as I thought it would be. She grinned, covering her mouth. Believe me, I know. Let's go find your sister. Lori nodded, following me. Hannah, I found Lori. Time to come out now. I received no response. Lori and I confirmed that we had both said what we had said and looked at each other a little bit hesitantly. I continued to scour my home, searching up and down for my wife. Once I reached the top step, I saw it. The door to our bedroom was slightly ajar, leaving a thin, inviting sliver of darkness. I can't explain why, but something about it sent a shiver down my spine. It was as if Anna had wanted me to find her. The whole thing felt wrong. The whole thing felt wrong. I'm not gonna lie. I took a deep breath. Mustering all of the courage and pushed open the door, I nearly screamed once I had laid eyes on the scene that awaited me. Anna was standing in the middle of the room. The only light illuminating her features was that seeping in from behind me and the muffled rays trickling in through the curtains. The middle of the room, where my wife was lurking, was drenched in darkness. Anna stood there, still as a statue. Kinda confused. We both just looked on. Her jet black hair partially obscuring her eyes. Even though the shadows, I could see a nauseating wide smile. my chest and beads of sweat began to form atop my brow. For the first time in our 12 years of marriage, I was fucking terrified of my wife. I flipped on a light switch, carefully not to take my eyes off of her. Anna, I found you. You can stop now. She completely ignored me. I only knew that she was still breathing by the slight rise and fall of her chest. The silence deafening. Any luck finding her yet, Lori asked, snatching me from my stupor as she reached the top step. Yeah, I did. I sure did, I replied weakly, pointing to Anna's motionless form. Lori marched right up to her like it was nothing. Okay, Anna, buttons over. You're about to give your hubby a heart attack. But my wife didn't respond at all. Lori tried waving her hand in front of Anna's face. Anna, hello? Are you okay? Very confused now and a little bit disturbed, I think, herself. You're really starting to freak me out, girl, Lori said, clasping her sister by the shoulders and shaking her lightly. Anna slowly turned towards Lori, and their eyes locked. Lori gulped before taking a step back. Blood pounded in my ears. There was nothing behind those hazel eyes. Her irises were black as night. I didn't even recognize them anymore. Her pupils huge. Everything from the iris to the pupil was black. There was nothing. Lori backed away, never breaking eye contact until she was standing directly beside me. Tim, let's go downstairs and regroup, okay? She murmured, the panic in her voice terrified me even more. My blood ran cold. I could barely move. That works for me, I mumbled back. I felt as if we had to speak at a lower tone, like taking a moment to speak in a whisper, almost silent to us, so my wife wouldn't come after us. I don't know, it was weird. Would this cause Hannah to break out of this attack? We crept out of the room, closing the door as we went. We'll be downstairs, Hannah. It'd be nice of you to join us whenever you can, or whenever you're ready to give up on this dumb trend. Hannah didn't acknowledge her. Once we made it downstairs, I took a deep breath, and Lori sat on the couch, leaning forward and clutching her phone with the vice grip. What do we do, Tim? This was just supposed to be some stupid gag like we always do. Anna's always taking these things a bit too seriously, but this, I've never seen anything like it. Okay? I've never seen her act like this. Something is different. I mean, don't you think she's taking it a little bit too far? I mean, even if I didn't believe that she was, it was the only plausible explanation I could come up with. know what was wrong with my wife or why she wasn't responding to either her sister or myself. Yeah, that has to be it. Surely she'll snap out of it at some point, right? She has to. It wouldn't. The words caught my throat. I caught Anna peeking around the corner, half of her face hidden from view. Her expression was the exact same as it had been when we'd left her upstairs, like a Cheshire cat. Odd, right? Huh. Lori traced my gaze until she realized who I was looking at. She instinctively backed away upon making eye contact with her sister. We weren't even sure what she was at that point. Somewhere deep in our subconscious, we had questions. Tim, how long has she been standing there? Lori squeaked, shrieking, shrinking, and shriveling into the sofa. I have no idea. We didn't even hear her walk down the stairs. Three of us sat there in silence. The tension was so thick that even a knife would not cut through it. I could feel myself beginning to shake. Tim, I really hate to do this to you. Lori began, turning towards me, but I can't take this anymore. It's too much. You know what? I'm going home. What? You don't know how to handle this? You're gonna leave me here? I'm sorry. I feel bad. I really do. Believe me. But this has gone just way too far, and I don't know what to do. What? I have kids, and they have school tomorrow. I shouldn't have even stayed this long. Okay. Kind of in disbelief. I nodded as I turned, my bottom lip beginning to quiver, and all I could muster was a weak, okay. Lori beelined for the door, straight past her immobile sister. Anna didn't even twitch, move a muscle, blink an eyelash, Nothing. Instead, she opted to remain watching me the entire time, smiling. That weird smile. That weird smile. Once the door slammed and her sister left, the pit in my stomach grew deep. Deepest I had ever felt. I was at a loss for words. My wife and I stood there in a sickening staring match, neither of us blinking. In fact, once that door shut, I could have sworn that I saw it stretch just a little bit wider. The smile, that is. I have. The smile, that was something that was different and weird. That's for sure. I was at a loss for words. I just had nothing to say. I don't know if it was the stress or the fear or Lori's sudden betrayal, but something in me snapped. This was silly, and it was obviously still running with that stupid TikTok challenge, and I was feeding into it, hook, line, and sinker. I started to get angry. I mean, really angry. And, alright, stand there for as long as you want. I don't fucking care. When you're ready to talk about this like adults, I'll be finishing up some work on my laptop. No response. Still that smile on her face, wide and tightening as if it hurt. I can't believe she could keep this ruse up so long. As it plastered on her lips, and how she just kept staring at me. Fine by me. I was done buying into whatever she was playing at. I sank down into my armchair and picked up my laptop, careful to keep Anna in my peripheral vision. Something deep down told me that I needed to keep her in my line of sight. I opened my laptop, trying to distract myself from Anna's strange behavior by doing some research for an article I was writing. But I couldn't seem to get it together. It's almost impossible to focus on a task when you feel someone staring into your soul. It was weird. Have you ever had anybody stare into your soul? It's a weird feeling. It is a terrifyingly weird feeling, actually. I sighed. 30 minutes later, and I had just a single word of anything I'd read. This was going absolutely nowhere. I was preparing to try to communicate with my stock still wife. Until when I heard it. Something near the doorway skittered across the floor. I slowly glanced up to where Anna had been standing for nearly an hour, and she was gone. Gone. Just gone. I didn't hear her. I didn't see her. What is going on here? I strained my eyes. Goosebumps everywhere, my heart pounding. Terrified at this point, listening for anything that might do me in as to where she was. The only sounds that I heard were my own labored breathing and the rapid pounding of my heart. My fingers quivered, and I didn't know if I had the strength to do it. I don't know if I did. But I tried. I was going to try. With my trembled hands, I closed the lid of my laptop just enough to see over it. I nearly screamed as I clattered to the floor. Clattered. I scrambled out of my seat and backed up. I was presented with this thing and pressed against the wall. Anna was on all fours, frozen mid-stride. She smiled up at me again, staying still as a statue. After I noticed her, something instantly caught my attention. Her eyes, I'd never seen anything like them. I know I hadn't. They were hungry. They weren't even all black. They were predatory. And I was her target. I failed to calm myself down as I slunk around the perimeter of the living room, careful not to break eye contact. Once I reached the stairs, I looked up them, taking 3 at a time, until I reached the top landing. I burst into our room, slammed the door shut, and made sure that damn thing was locked. I was safe. Or I thought so. What the hell is going on? This is insane, I said out loud, patting my pockets as I tried to find my phone. realization crashed over me like a tidal wave. I'd left it on the coffee table when I was working on my laptop. We didn't have a landline, and I was trapped. I began to hyperventilate and pace around the room. What was I supposed to do? My car keys were in the bowl downstairs, so even if I was able to climb out of the window, I'd have to go back inside to get them. It's not like we lived close to any neighbors. Running to a neighbor's house was out of the question. Secluded road, of course. And we didn't even know the nearest people to us. In the end, I concluded that I had no other option but to try to sleep and hop and hope my wife was back to normal in the morning. So I did what I did every night. I slipped into a t-shirt and gym shorts before lying in my bed. I knew that I probably wasn't going to get a wink of sleep and maybe not even make it through a night, but I had to give it a shot. It was the only thing I knew how to do. I turned the lamp off and the room was bathed in darkness. Aside from the faint yellow glow trickling in from underneath the door. Right before I closed my eyes, I noticed something that ensured I was wide awake. I could barely make out someone's feet blocking the light, and I shuddered. How long had she been standing there? I didn't want to know the answer, to be honest. I suddenly heard the door knob begin to jiggle. My heart raced like a piston, and I could feel all the blood rush from my face. How could I have forgotten? Oh my God, I kept a spare key stashed in the top door frame for emergencies. That was it. I was cornered. The door slowly creaked open. I could see the glimmer of Anna's stark white teeth through the opening. Her eyes were bloodshot, and rightfully so. I hadn't seen her blink once all night. I couldn't move a muscle. I was paralyzed with fear, waiting for my wife to scamper across the room and do God knows what to me. But she never did. I don't know how long we spent staring at each other. Hours, maybe. And that entire night, her mouth didn't so much as twitch. The twisted smile remained stuck to her lips like she was a figure in a painting. I don't know how, but eventually I must have nudged off. Because when I opened my eyes again, Anna was gone. The house was pitch black, save for the moonlight shining through the downstairs window. I could feel it. I could hear her like a presence incoming over me. Every synapse in my brain screamed at me to stay where I was, to wait it out and pray that nothing would happen. But I couldn't. I just couldn't. I don't know, it wasn't in my makeup. My personality, I don't know. I steeled my resolve, ready to fight if I need be. I flipped onto my back with some sort of weapon in hand, but she wasn't there. My eyes grew wide. I hurriedly scanned the room. No, she was just here. But she wasn't, and this might be my only chance. I crept at the door, stifling my breathing as much as possible. The house was eerily silent. Once I made it to the stairs, I peered down them, squinting to see in the darkness. The coast was clear. At least I thought so. Who knew at this point? I tiptoed down each step, avoiding the creaky ones to the best of my ability. I felt nauseous. I could feel eyes on the back of my neck whenever I went, like I was a lamb being slaughtered. That's how I felt. I crept to the door as my wife's eyes grew wide. I decided I was ready to fight. And again, she wasn't there. Eyes grew wide. I hurriedly scanned the room, and I didn't find her. My chance had come. I crept to the door, stifling my breathing as much as possible. The house was eerily silent. Once I made it to the stairs, I peered down them, squinting to see in the dark. The coast seemed clear. I tiptoed down each step, avoiding the creaky ones to the best of my ability. Nausea flooded over me. I could feel eyes on the back of my neck whenever I went, like I was a lamb being led to the slaughter in the supposed safety of my own home. Once I reached the bottom, I peeked around the corner to the living room. I immediately noticed something strange. The back door was hanging wide open and the porch light was on. I drifted over to it like a moth to a flame, picking up my phone along the way. Nothing could have prepared me for what I saw when I looked outside. Warning: animal abuse. Annie was sitting on her haunches, crouched over something in the yard. Her long hair prevented me from seeing what she was doing. All of a sudden, as if on instinct, she snapped her head up towards me with a disgusting speed. That quick, weird, creaky, grapey, crockety speed of a demon. When her eyes locked, I felt like I was going to pass out. My wife was holding the carcass of a dead rat. She had devoured a large chunk of it, entrails, bones, and blood oozing from her touching a dead animal. Anna was still smiling. That was the most difficult part. She was still smiling. My flight or fight response kicked itself into overdrive. I slammed the back door shut and raced through the kitchen as fast as my legs would carry me, snatching my keys in the way I shot by the door at lightning speed, and not bothering to close it behind me, I leapt into the driver's seat of my Chevy and stepped on the gas. As my truck kicked up dust, I happened to glance in the rear mirror. I released a horrified shriek at what I saw. Anna was standing under the garage light. She watched me leave, that wide, bloody smile still plastered across her face. I don't know where I'm going. I doubt the cops will be in any help. I don't think Anna was technically done or had done anything illegal, so their hands would have potentially been tied. I just had to get out of that house. Then I parked at a stop for now, until I can get my thoughts together. Even though I've made my escape, I'm still downright horrified. But not for the reason you might think. I can't explain it. But ever since I left, I haven't been able to stop smiling. Stop smiling. How about another one from Horror Junkie? 1, 2, 3. I really like it. To fire somebody, and she was not happy about it. By Horror Junkie 1, 2, 3. These are all gonna be by him tonight. You're fired. Those two dreaded words are the last things anybody wants to hear. As the manager of a small coffee shop, you're the last words I ever want to say. But unfortunately, I did have to say them. And the employees on the receiving end, let's just say they were less than pleasant or pleased. Seriously, Kala? Robbie comes in 20 minutes late every fucking shift, and I'm the one getting canned. It's not fair. I won't accept that. Claire, Robbie has one leg. He gets a pass. You took cash from the register. That's not something we can turn a blind eye to. Being late is one thing. Stealing is another. I said while I crossed my arms. Claire pursed her lips, shifting her gaze to the ground. put $100 back in the register on payday. Just give me a second chance. I let out a deep sigh. She wasn't taking this well. I'm sorry. But there is a zero tolerance policy for stealing, and I cannot do anything about it. My hands are really tied. Even if you were to pay it back or double, the big boss still wouldn't excuse it. I would be putting my own job in jeopardy by looking the other way, and that's just not something I can do. Your actions have consequences, Claire. You brought this on yourself. She glanced up at me with teary eyes. Though Claire was entirely in the wrong, my heart shattered for all the same. She was a good kid, just a little misguided, misled, damaged, I don't know. Or so I thought. I won't forget this, Gala. Mark my words. I will make you pay. She spat before dramatically stomping at the door. My eyes grew wide, and my legs were so still. Frozen there, my heart began to race. If I had any normal human being had said that, I would have blown it off entirely, but there was something about it, an oddity about my job that I may have purposely forgotten to mention. You see, I'm a clairvoyant of sorts. I work at a coffee shop for the dead, and they tend to take things a little more personally than, well, the living. Oddly enough, right? A gruff-looking man with a leather jacket and ripped jeans leaned against the counter, slapped me into attention away from the door. He had an unkempt beard and a nasty road rash searing into his face. The shades obscuring his eyes exuded an air of confidence that he had no business possessing. Even so, his appearance didn't intimidate me in the slightest. Don't worry about her, Calla. She's talking out her ass. I appreciate the reassurance, Frank. I know she probably just needs to blow off some steam, but, it always freaks me out when she's like this. No offense to all you dead folk, but I don't want to kick the bucket anytime soon, That's fair. Purgatory ain't that bad, but it doesn't hold a candle to the land of the living. Oh, by the way, did you get a chance? Can you whip me up my regular? I could use a boost. Sure thing. Right up. Is there anything else I can get for you? I tried my best to stop myself, but it was too late. I knew better than to ask that question to Frank. Yeah, he said. He grinned, leaning a little closer. Don't you say it, Frank. I swear if you, I'll take your soul. I'll take your soul. I glowered at him as he roared with laughter. Oh, come on, lighten up, Gala. Have a sense of humor. He wheezed, tears falling in his eyes. Frank, you've told me that same joke every chance you get for the entire time I've been working here. It wasn't funny the first time you said it, and it definitely is not funny now. I ought to charge you double every time you tell that. espresso, I heard the familiar chime of the door opening. A kid with a disheveled blonde hair and scratches across his face hobbled inside, leaning on a crutch. "Hey, Robbie. Nice of you to show up," I beamed. Flashing him a warm smile, I glanced down at my watch. 20 minutes late. Right on the nose. Always gotta give me shit, Miss Calla. You dry up into work one day, then we'll talk. Equipped, returning a grin. "You know what? Maybe I'll take you up on that. If I do." I froze mid-sentence. All the color drained from my face, and I suddenly found myself unable to speak. I clutched my side, barely able to breathe. A random pain shot through my torso. I felt like I was going to pass out. Calla, are you okay? Say something." Robbie rushed over to me, his face contorted with worry. I weakly returned his gaze. The agony, it was beyond anything I had ever felt before. It was as if someone had stabbed me while I was standing there with a white-hot fire poker and decided to twist it in a couple times for good measure. Excruciating was an understatement. Just as my vision was starting to go fuzzy, the pain began to dissipate. I gasped for air, leaning heavily on the counter for support. What the hell was that? "I'm alright," I said, turning my head. Frank had joined Robbie behind the counter. The pair of them both had a look of deep concern etched into their features. If I wasn't dying, I probably would have found it endearing. "Are you sure? You look a little... Oh, you look like shit, Calla." "That's it. I'm definitely changing him. And I'm charging him double." "Gee, thanks a lot, Frank. You're such a gentleman." "Don't mention it," he said. Never giving up indicated that he was joking. Yeah. Goes it down as, I don't know, the pain just felt so real. "Go sit down, Frank." "You too, Miss Calla. You should probably take the rest of the day off. Don't worry, I can handle this shop," Robbie said, helping me to a chair. "You know what? I think you're right. I could go for a nap." After resting for a little while longer, I went home. Robbie wasn't professional by any means, but I trusted him to keep aftermath running smoothly, at least until I recovered. He was a good kid. I always thought it was such a shame that he died in such a tragic manner. IEDs are no joke. I made sure to take it easy and get plenty of rest. I didn't experience any more phantom pains for the remainder of the day, but I knew that I would need to get a good night's sleep. With Claire gone, I'd be stuck on opening shifts for the foreseeable future. I was almost done running through my tasks for the morning when it happened. A man approached the counter, his face obscured by a brown fedora. A sickly yellow newspaper was tucked underneath his arm as he placed a glove hand onto the countertop. His aura alone was sinister enough to make me want to turn and run. Beware. His gravelly sounded like his diet consisted solely of rusty nails and asphalt, and maybe it did. I'd only heard that voice a handful of times. And each instance made me sick. Nauseated from the inside out. Why, what is coming? The girl. With no further elaboration, he turned and reclaimed his regular seat at the back of the shop. I was shaking in my boots. Why, you might ask? Well, I told you a little while. A white lie. The thing that approached the counter is no man. He's been coming in nearly every day for as long as anyone can remember, but that's all we know about him. No one knows what he is. What he is? What do you mean? No one knows what he is, just like I damn said. And no one knows how or if he died. No one even knows his name. We call him Nora, short for no name. And the only thing I'm completely certain of in regards to him are one, that he's benevolent towards the employees of Aftermath and its patrons too. That whenever he decides to speak a terrible tragedy usually unfolds. There's no denying it. Nona is a bona fide, real deal harbinger of death. I locked eyes with Frank, who wore the same bewildered expression that I did. His pallid features and wide eyes mirrored exactly how I felt in that moment. What do you think he meant by that? Frank murmured, never breaking eye contact. I don't know, but whatever it is, I know it can't be good. It can't be good. You got that right. Maybe it would be safer to call and some back up this one, you know. Hopping between a couple of different locations after landing a regional manager gig, but believe me, be at the top of that if he caught wind of this, right? Yeah, normally I'd try to avoid getting Ivan involved, but I think this is warranted. You remember what happened last time Nona spoke? I said as a shiver rippled down my spine. Frank averted his gaze, the corners of his eyes drooping into a frown. I wish I could forget that whole ordeal sent Gala. Gala, are you okay? It had returned tenfold. My lower back throbbed with intense boring pain, pounding against my back flesh. It felt as if someone was hacking away at my spine, calm with an ice pick. I was paralyzed. If I moved another inch, I could be met with another agonizing shock of hurt, searing through my system. This time was even worse than before. Before I could even grasp what was going on, everything started to get fuzzy around the edges of my vision. I could feel myself fading in the past. The last thing I could in a hospital bed. Frank was snoozing in a chair beside a burly, hulking figure. I was so shocked that I had to do a double take. Ivan's chair looked comically small beneath his gargantuan frame. Those things. Were not made to accommodate 7-foot-tall giants like him. I honestly hadn't expected him to show up. Commuting is a bit more of a hassle for the dead, after all, but whenever the case, Ivan's eyes lit up, noticing that I was awake. Callie, you are awake, yeah? I made a trip as soon as possible, Ivan said, shuffling up to my bedside. I couldn't help but smile. He might have looked intimidating, but at heart he was just a big Russian teddy bear. Yeah, I think I'm fine now. I really do. Nobody has to worry this much. How did you get here so fast? It's only been a few hours. Devious grin crept across his face. I pursed my lips. I knew that look. I hitched a ride on top of a car. It's a efficient way to travel. My mouth fell open. Ivan's bully ass clinging to the roof of a speeding car was going God knows how far over the legal limit. That's something I'd pay to see. Do you get anywhere like that? Every subway does not go. I opened my mouth and ready to scold him for being reckless, but thought better of it. Ivan was already dead, but it's not like he could do it again. Okay, Evel Knievel, let's set aside for a smoke break. Alright. All we need is a smoke break. All we need is a smoke break. I mean, they're already dead, right? Appearing at the foot of my bed, Ivan's mountainous body was so large that I hadn't even moved. Or even noticed him wake up. Yes, you have a cigarette? Ivan asked, then a mischievous grin returning to his lips. Yes, I guess. God, when calling your name, buddy. Cal will be back in a few minutes, okay? I offer to catch someone's attention for you, but, kinda hard when no one can see you. See us, I mean. Frank said, ushering Ivan out the door. That's very thoughtful. I should be able to manage. Don't take too long out there, I replied, finishing the pair of them with a weak smile, and they disappeared. Overview. I collapsed back into my bed. Why was this happening? I was beginning to think that I had pissed off some ancient, forlorn deity when the dots suddenly connected. How had it happened? How had I not realized sooner the person responsible for all this was standing in the doorway? All the color drained from my face and my eyes grew wide as saucers. With a slight tremble in my voice, I called out to her. Claire. The pale girl with jet black hair loitering in the entryway smiled. A wicked, demented smile that I can't erase from my nightmares. In addition, she was carrying a voodoo doll. One that looked similar to me. Miss me yet? Claire asks, sinking closer. course, Clary. No, I had no other option. It was. Shut up, she shouted, producing a scalpel from her pocket and holding it to the doll's neck. It was there I knew. I could feel the gold metal blade against my flesh. Claire wasn't playing around, man. I don't want to hear your excuses, Gala. You had your chance, she said playfully, wiping the scalpel back and forth. I wanted to scream. It was if tiny razor blades were dancing across my throat. When you kicked my ass to the curb, you told me my actions had consequences. Well, so do yours. Claire spat, leering down at me. That was it. I was convinced that I was going to die. Don't worry, she said, her enraged demeanor shifting. I'm not going to kill you, not yet. No, I just wanted to fill you in on what's to come. I'm gonna stay true to my word. Gala, I made you pay for what you did to me for a long, long time. Excuse me. Claire giggled, moving the blade from the doll's throat. I gasped, and reached for air, coming to the realization I'd been sitting. My breathing, as I shifted, trembled, turning to my psychotic ex-employee. She was smiling wider than ever. I really must be going now. It was great to see you again. Oh, and remember, I'll be watching you, Claire said, punctuating their statement by plunging the blade into the doll's legs before skipping out the door. I shrieked in agony, desperately clutching my throbbing calf. A couple of nurses rushed in a calm me down state, assuring me that everything would be okay. But honestly, I don't know it will be, because Claire is still out there and she knows how to hold a grudge. Good night, everybody. Good night. Good night. Good night. I hope you've enjoyed this creepypasta. I am going to fall asleep on you if I don't stop here. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. I love you all, and I hope you have enjoyed this horror junkie 1, 2, 3 for bed. It's like the time I yawned. I am tired. So I want you all to have sweet, sweet dreams.